I wanted to take a couple minutes today to talk about fear. I feel like our nation is in this place of fear. Leading up to the election, there was just this afraid of what's going to happen if so-and-so wins. Then after the election, the same thing, this terrified attitude of what is going to happen next. And so I wanted to take a couple minutes today just to talk about fear. Now, when people are afraid, something happens to them. And some people get paralyzed by fear and they don't know what to do. They're scared and they just get disabled by it. Other people, they turn around and they lash out because of their fear. So they'll go get on the offensive and they'll go hurt people. They'll put people down and they'll get mean and ugly because of that fear. And I've seen so much of this in the last couple of weeks. I've seen so many people with anxiety, with fear, and placing that fear and that anxiety upon other people. And I'm really disappointed, honestly, in the media, because the media has done such a huge part in this. The fear factor, just trying to work people up over every little thing instead of encourage people. And after an election like this, we've never seen the country more fragmented. After 9/11, we saw this fear come in, and it brought people together. Leading up to this election and then after this election, this fear that people have, mostly because of the pitting of the sides against each other, a lot because of the media, has caused people to push against each other. And so this fear, instead of disabling people with fear, has caused people just to be nasty to each other. And it's just really grossed me out. And so as I think about fear today, I want to say that fear is so often it's an elevating of the power of a potential danger. Fear is the elevating of the power of a potential danger in your life. So when you're afraid of something, it means that there's a potential danger out there. We don't know what the future holds. We have a fear of what the future holds. And so we're scared to death of what is going to happen. And so because we're scared of that, and because we allow fear to kind of just get bigger and to have kind of control of our life, it gives this elevated power to a potential danger that hasn't even happened yet. Okay? So what happens is, our perceptions of what might happen because of a potential danger, they disable us and they hold us in bondage. So nothing has actually happened that would cause us harm, but our fear that the possibility of it is there causes us to act as if it already happened, and to get to lash out or to get paralyzed because of fear, which is just unbelievable to me, to think that so many people are falling to that. Now, I want to introduce the idea of courage today, because courage is what happens within us that gives us the strength that even though there's a possibility of danger, even though there's a possibility of risk, courage is to get up and continue on in the right thing, even though there might be danger at hand. Now, I love the guy in the Bible by the name of Joshua. And Joshua was a guy who was in a situation of danger. He lived through a situation of terror. As a matter of fact, he had an opportunity to go into what was called God's promised land. And everyone around him was afraid of it. And they inflicted fear that paralyzed the people of God, so they weren't able to go into the promised land. 40 years passed, and then Joshua finally had the opportunity to go into the land that God promised to give him. And so after that 40 years passed, God put some words out there for Joshua and wanted Joshua to make sure that Joshua wasn't afraid and letting fear into his life. And so he said this in Joshua chapter 1, verse 9. This is my command. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. This is the message that God gave to Joshua. This is the message then that Joshua turned and gave to the people. Don't be afraid. Don't be terrified. Don't be discouraged. The Lord your God is with you wherever you go. So let me tell you something. No matter who is president, no matter who is in charge, no matter who your boss is, no matter who's picking on you, no matter who's bullying you, no matter what happens in the world, no matter what nation does something against another nation, you know what? God is in control. And God will be with you if you'll be with him. If you'll call out to God and say, God, I need to be encouraged. I need you to put courage back in my life. Then he'll say to you, be strong and courageous. And here is how you can be. Recognize that I'll be with you. So in spite of the fear of a potential danger, there's no need to let that fear disable you or cause you to lash out and hate and divide and cause trouble and burn things and break things. No. Instead, recognize that, no, God will be with me. And so I'm not putting my faith in people. I'm putting my faith in God. And God's going to get me through this. I want to encourage you to be strong and courageous. Recognize that if you're with God, God will be with you. And he'll walk you through any trouble that you have to face. You don't have to be afraid what the next 4 years of America hold. You don't have to be afraid of what nation doesn't like America. You don't have to be afraid of what neighbor doesn't like you. You don't have to be afraid of what coworker wants your head. God is in control. And he will be with you if you're with him. So his words for you today and my words for you are today, be strong and courageous. Be of courage. Let me encourage you by putting the courage back into you, because the fear you have has not materialized. You're allowing yourself to be disabled because of a possibility of something going wrong. Be courageous. That means to stand up and move forward, even though there's a threat of risk and something might go wrong. Instead, let's make it go right as much as we can by moving forward in the ways of God and doing the things that he's called us to do, and being kind, being compassionate, showing love. Be strong and courageous. God bless you, and keep growing.